that question. But for now, Posty, welcome to the conversation. Where do you want to lead us?
Hello. Okay, so before I give my little thoughts or my monologue on this, I want to say I agree with 40, obviously, that there is no ethno or civic, there is just nationalism. You can't come to this country and say you're a nationalist because you don't belong to this nation. You're a resident here, maybe you have citizenship, and who says you're welcome here? Like you mentioned, Wolf, well, what if they, the government gave you paperwork that says you're here, but does the nation, the people, think you belong here? So that's my whole thing, right? And I'm basically going to take my whole little monologue from a book called Loving Our Own by Greg Johnson, just because he sums it up a lot better than I can probably articulate without saying a lot of ums and all this kind of stuff. So basically, nations are extended families, right? Rooted in blood, shared culture, shared language. Like a family, the nation offers unconditional belonging. The basis for this belonging is the love of one's own. We love other members of our nation because they are like us, and that is further to what Fortisac said as well. Like they look like us, they act like us, they're like our family, right? To use the language of science, it's called a fellow feeling, which is based on a genetic similarity, and this is from, like I said, Dr. Johnson, who wrote this book, Dr. Greg Johnson. It follows that multicultural, multiracial hodgepodge cannot be a genuine nation and cannot inspire the feelings of love and loyalty that we find in a racially homogenous nation. The material and psychological well-being of a people requires safe havens, and that includes a racially homogenous society. People need sovereign homelands, ethno-states. He used the word, and this is a right and not a privilege. And I will finish with one of the great nationalists of our time from Australia, Tom Sewell. A nation for everyone is a nation for no one. And that's basically my take on it.
Okay. Really quickly, thank you for that, Posty. I'm going to quickly just welcome Vanessa and
that's basically my take on it.
All right. So before I hand Tim's sword to Vanessa, who I think is able to wield it deftly and allow her to respond to that, I just want to say, in order to get into the mind of what 40's talking about, look at your own self, your own liberal sensitivities, the things that offend. We talked about how, imagine taking what you know of the world and the way it works and going to some other country and just trying to fit in and do things their way. And not only just do it that way, but believe it, want it, understand the value of it within 6 to 12 years. Be exceptionally difficult. It's no different for these people to fit into where, to take what they have learned through multiple generations and put that aside when joining us and expecting them to hold our values as we do, to see the world the way we do, to treat people the way we do. This takes generations to generate this kind of cohesion. It's very important to understand. You got to see it through your own lens in order to understand it. Vanessa?
Sorry, before Vanessa goes, can I just say something real quick?
Real quick, Posty, go ahead.
Yeah, is that they don't look like us. And that's what it comes down to. They'll never be accepted, even if it's, 3 generations of Indians here, right? It doesn't matter that they act like us, if they act like us. It doesn't matter that they follow our laws. They don't look. That's the same for any other country. Like, I'm sorry, but that, and civic nationalism is basically anti-white rhetoric as far as I'm concerned. Like, that's all. I just wanted to throw that in there.
All right. No, that's fair. And we will circle back to that.
White rhetoric as far as I'm concerned. Like that's all. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Posty. Now, here we are in our liberal democracy throughout the West. It is kind of the baseline for how our government has worked throughout the West to varying degrees in every nation you can name. So I want to ask you a question. If individuals can be judged or should be judged by social contract, by law, by all these things, by their character, their values, their actions, if these are the things that matter, why are you so intent on reducing people to their ancestry? that mean that you don't like liberal democracy, that you don't like democracy?
Well, my first thing with democracy is no, I'm not a huge fan of democracy in its current form because you can't have a true democracy without a racially homogenous society. So what we think of as a democracy now is not really a democracy. And I personally am not a big fan of democracy. I think that having a king and stuff like that was probably better for the population maybe at that time. Now, maybe our current, like, because of modernity, maybe that wouldn't work anymore. I don't know, right? But I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of democracy, and that's probably because my whole life democracy has looked like it does now, which means it's not really a democracy.
So you don't think it could work in modernity? It's working quite well in the Eastern Hemisphere. And in many ways, I think if we're being honest and we look past our media and you really
Right,
are geopolitically savvy, you can say they're kicking our ass.
right. But
They really are.
what's the difference between those nations and ours?
They love themselves. We don't. They stick
And
together. Well,
and
they're ethno nations.
thank you.
Yes, absolutely, they are, and they're very effective. We don't. They stick
And
together. Well,
and
they're ethno nations.
thank you.
Yes, absolutely, they are, and they're very effective. And they're not also liberal democracies. That's also something to note. As
Exactly.
yeah, but to say that that we can't go back, I don't know. Maybe after we learn
Maybe we
enough hard
can.
lessons, we can. Yeah.
Maybe we can. I don't know. Like I find and this is maybe a little bit slightly off topic, but like you mentioned the UK. My personal thought is that the UK is cooked. Like they're now, for all intents and purposes, they're an Islamic state. So nothing is going to save them short of like a military style operation, like Desert Storm or something. Like that's my true opinion, and that's what I fear for Canada. Because, like I said, when you let these groups take hold, and this is why you need to have a racially homogenous society. And the other thing is why is it just our countries that it's a problem for us to want that? Like you don't see Russia, or you don't see North Korea, China, all these other countries being bullied into accepting diversity. So what is it? Why is it that we can't have every other nation diversity? So what is it? Why is it that we can't have every other nation, every other people, every other race has a home?
Yeah.
Why can't we have a home?
Well, other people will tell you that we do have a home, and to go back to it, this isn't it, right? North America is
But
very
who
unique in that argument because we are a colonized continent, the whole fucking
Yes, but
continent.
we were not Canada.
Two of
We
them,
were not
actually.
Canada. We were not
Yes.
Canada when the Indigenous were running around slaughtering each other and each other's tribes. We were not Canada then.
And
We were not a
enslaving each
nation
other.
then,
Let's not leave
and
that out.
enslaving each other.
Yes.
So, no, I mean, yeah, okay, fine. You want us to go back to Europe and just leave the Indigenous people here? Okay. What are they gonna do? They didn't build this nation. What are they gonna do? It's gonna go back to the way it was prior. They'll be living in teepees and shit again. So, okay, if that's your argument, but then that means everybody goes back except for the Indians, like the native or the feather Indians.
All right. Really quickly, let's diddy bop over to PPC. How you doing, Jens? I'm gonna go over to Posty. Posty,
I
you
will
got
make it
one.
quick. Yeah,
Yeah,
make it
go
very
ahead.
my final comment is, well, I was gonna ask Peter a question, and I'll ask it quickly, but hopefully you don't take too much offense to it, but whatever.
Please do.
Yeah. It's clear that you don't live in a Canadian community because you can barely speak English. So, and you've been here for 15 years. So I just wanted to say that. And also, you said you went to Japan. Wouldn't it have been easier and more culturally beneficial to you to stay in Japan? They would be more similar to you, right? So that's you don't have to respond. That was just my comment about that. Secondly, I want everybody to think about any society in the sort of diversity. Has there been a society that has had this experiment run successfully? Because if you look at the fall of Rome, this was one of the big things that caused, I mean, it wasn't the only thing, but it was one of the big things that caused the fall of Rome, which was an amazingly great, long-standing empire. So I want everybody to take that with them and think about the fact that if you can think of a society that has succeeded and survived long term with a non ethnically homogenous population, I would be glad to hear about it.